Hello, people of my channel, Chair Mapping. Yes, I remember. Today we going a mapping video for you. What if Ireland wanted an empire? As you know, if you're in my Discord, which link in description and I'll comment below, which you should join because it's low key pretty chill. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, we're making a video, right? What if Ireland wanted an empire? That is today's video. It's never been done before, guys, trust. Today's focus, Ireland. You never believe it. Alright? Now, just a few moments before we start, I am leaving to go on a trip on the 30th, and I will not make videos between that week and the weekend of the 30th. I'll probably be back probably Wednesday, maybe Thursday. But I do have Wonderlands coming out Friday, this Friday, just before I leave. It'll be the same world. Anywho, let's start. So let's say 2026, right? This watercolor's not doing it for me. Alright, it's good enough. So let's say it's 2026, right? And, you got Russia's invaded Ukraine, blah, 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 blah. There's Ireland. We're focused on little baby Ireland. So, let's say years of torment is over, right? Let's say NATO doesn't exist. The CSTO doesn't exist. Nothing exists. It's just fully dependent. So, let's label the Irish Navy with this color, right? This is the Irish Navy. So, the Irish Navy travels and blockades Iceland, right? Easy target, right? Easy pickings. But Iceland falls. Out. Let's see. Oh, where's the there? So, this is Ireland's invading force right here. This, boom, right? We have Ireland's invading force. They land here, right? They have mountain people just trained for this, right? They naval land a bunch of ports. They capture the east coast and they capture Reykjavik, which is I think how you say the capital. And shortly afterwards, Iceland has no other cities besides Reykjavik, and then they die. The end, right? This is the Irish Navy, right? Since we're not at war, we can just close that off. There's no need for that. We can't anger the British, not yet, right? Ireland makes some deals, right? Potatoes, and they buy these islands from Denmark and Norway. You know, very kind and very generous. Right? They didn't need it anyways. They weren't needing it. Look at this growth. See, Ireland is doing great. Right. And then with the help of France, because nobody likes the British, with the help of France and Ireland, they invade. Does that match? Nah. Let me get France's color. Right. With the help of Ireland invades Northern Ireland, you know, basically, and then France teleports their army into southern England, and the Irish Navy, far superior than the British Navy, because the British Navy is not doing well this century or decade, right? The French and British Navy, they plummet the British Navy, and they take it over, right? Ireland, naval invades the top, Scotland, right? Scotland doesn't like the British, and they just join anyway, right? And it's just the France and the British. This is the French and the Irish, and Britain does, right? As per the peace deal, France gets this, and Ireland gets the rest, right? Big, beautiful Ireland, very green, right? Now, people see Ireland as a threat, so they're like, oh no. Ireland expands their seas out, expanding their economical, the EEZ. I don't know the term for it. People are like, oh no, that's bad. But France and Ireland, they get along together. They chill. Now Ireland takes over the lowlands, right? First they blockade the seas, right? And then they set up. Where is the color? Here it is. They set up a naval force, right? Boom. They take Amsterdam and Rotterdam. They take the coast. The coast is very important. And then they die. You know what? As a strategy, they flood. They flood the Dutch because, well, they need it anyways. Right? They flood the Dutch. Nah, just kidding. They take over the Dutch, their flatlands they provide, not being good to them. No, surprise, surprise. Belgium dies, and so does Luxembourg. Yeah, they all die. What a shocker, guys. Germany's like, uh-oh, that's a big no-no, right? You're a threat. And Germany, boom, invades them. That's what they do, right? They take the Dutch, because again, it's flats, right? And the German Navy battles their Navy, and boom, they take right over there. And they're like, oh no. But then Poland, they're like, F you, right? And they start to invade too. Right, I'm not going to change color. But they start to invade. And so with the help of Ireland and Poland, right, the Germany stands no chance, right? Let's be realistic. They stand no chance, guys. Germany would lose every scenario. There's no, like, Doctor Strange. They win one scenario. They just die. That's it. It's over for them, right? And as the peace deal, right? The peace deal. We all love peace deals. The board is split like this. That looks nothing familiar to any point of history and time, right? These borders, they don't look like anything, right? So boom, the Irish Navy expand, right? Look at this big empire. Now, what could be good, right? They have a border with Denmark, so they just took it, right? They surrendered in like what, 7? They surrendered in 2 hours. They stand no chance. We just gotta expand their fleet a little bit. Yeah. And over here too. Nope. Press the wrong keys here. Boom. This is their empire. They closed that. And they expanded a little bit more. Pretty big empire. They closed it off because they're just too epic to care, right? Ireland decides, you know what, let's go colonize. Then they take the little navy, right? They take a little navy. They go all the way down, all the way down. And they go to Gabon, right? They just take it over, right? Right. But then they're like, you know what? Let's keep going. They take over Equatorial Guinea. Pretty weak, pretty bad. And they take over the Congo. The jungle is proving bad for them, but the Great Irish Army adapts, right? And they take over Cameroon, too, because why not? To expand their potato plantations, or the PP for short. Wait a minute. They turn on France because we all love to backstab, right? They swiftly take the English Isles pretty quickly, blitzkrieg it, right? And then their navy dominates the France because the potato cannons on their new ships, too good, right? And France, they have disjointed government, so they suck. They capitulate easy, so it doesn't take long to. So the Irish army, they march, right? They take Calais and Dunkirk. Dunkirk's over here. Calais's over here. Okay. Maginot Line, I don't know what they have, so we're gonna pretend, right? But this snake, right? They take the coast. Irish army the navy takes the oceans, right? The channel. They take Brest, whatever the city's called. They land it. They seize Normandy, and they fight. The French fight long, but they can't stand the Irish army, and they die. The end, right? Direct annexation. So the Irish army, the navy grows, right? You just unstoppable force. You can't. How would you stop this? Right. Also, we can't forget the navy down here, and they just take Seattle and Principe. Why not? It's insignificant anyway. So boom, this is the Irish army, right? Oh, we can't forget here, and Britain is dead. Let's just 1 second. Let me just do this real quick. Yes, we're doing each and every one of their islands. Alright, boom. We have the Great Irish Army right here. This is looking great, but we could be even greater. Right? Ireland decides it wants revenge, right? It has been bullied. It wants to reclaim, it wants to be the better British Empire, right? So they set sail. That's what they do. They set sail, blah, 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 blah. And they land at Sri Lanka, right? Sri Lanka is pretty small. It falls pretty quickly. You know, it's weak and insignificant. And India, big population. But the Irish don't care. They don't care. They never do. And that's okay. The great Irish Navy, they secure Sri Lanka, right? And they secure the seas. The Indian Navy, no match, right? They take it, right? They take the seas. Even Bangladesh's seas, right? Because they didn't like him either. Because they did nothing wrong. Then, Irish forces land in the southern tip of India, and they continue. They encircle this, which they fall pretty quickly. They travel more, but they get stuck because the Indian army arrived. They're right there, right? That's pretty bad, you know. India has a big army and population, so they stall, right? As a distraction, the Irish army go over here, right, and they land in Somalia. Fellow Somalilanders in the north over here, they joined Ireland because they didn't want to be part of Somalia. And the combined effort of the two great nations, they take over Somalia, and it becomes of Ireland. Now, Somalian pirates help the Irish army push more into India. Not much, but the coast, snakes along the coast. India's losing shortly. The Irish Navy quickly sees these islands. I don't know what they're called, but it's not important because they're Irish now and they have some long name. Now, the Irish, they're not done, right? They're not done. This is their plan. Now, the Spanish. Not the Spanish, not yet. But you do have Gibraltar, so let's... Oh yeah, and these islands too. Now, USA is looking at them very close. You better stop. This better be the last war, or you better get it. But the Irish don't care because they take back their potatoes, and the U.S. dies. Right? They die. They collapse. Very bad. They land. Oof! I can't speak today. They encircle Madagascar with their navy. Right? They land in the northern tip and the southern tip. And they launch more naval invasions, and they meet. Boom. The Madagascar the army, the animals from the movie, they stand no chance. Pockets of resistance form up, but they die. The end. They take Maldives. They promise that they will stop them from dying in the ocean, and they join in. India struggles against the Irish army. They continue to struggle. Right? The potato cannons, the Mark 50 of the potato cannon, just too strong for them. Um, yeah, Poland feeds them with Polish vodka with and they mix it in the Guinness, Irish Guinness and Polish vodka. They mix it. It's like crack cocaine, and it feeds the army to keep pushing to India. Right. They landed in Bangladesh. The mountain people once again proving to be strong opponents. Right. They land. They cut. But the Alps. Ooh, the Alps are big mountains. Now, big mountains are hard to cross, right? But they snake along the coast, right? So they say, let's ignore the big mountains, right? So they do. Um, Ireland continues their African campaign, right? They push into Kenya and just take it over. Not much. What is Kenya gonna do? Kenya's weak, weak sauce. And so much for and send Tanzania too. They die pretty quickly. I don't know anything about Tanzania, but I know they're weak because they don't have potatoes, I don't think. And Car, they quickly declare war on Car, which is the Central African Republic, and they die. Right? Boom. See? You might be thinking, where does it end? They've winning too much. But they say, no, we're going to keep on winning. And they declare, no, they don't declare war on Spain, but they do. They don't march into it. They quickly seize their coast. Ireland once the great empire, the one that secures all of the potatoes in Eastern Europe, Western Europe. They seize the oceans. They take Lisbon as a major hub. And then the mountains. Pretty big mountains. So they go around the mountains. Right? Pretty smart. They take the Balearic Islands. They march from Gibraltar. They take Sevilleville. And they take, what is this city called? I don't know, La Corona. I forget. After years of Hoi 4, I can't remember the cities. Right? Spain dies. But you know what? Spain locks in. And they recover this city and the coast. But there's just, Ireland is just too great. Too potatoey. And they lose the eastern coast, right? Portugal also struggles. Ireland's just too great. Portugal dies. They're dead, right? Spain takes whatever that's not occupied. Ireland reoccupies it, and it's just a mess. Spain dies. Boom, that's it. The end. They're dead. But that distraction would let India, push in and reach the coast once more, but they could not break the Irish Navy. That's just too strong for them. Now this distraction, they blame it on Mozambique, and then they take it over, because for losses you always blame other people. And they just take it over. They launch from the north. They naval in to the south, and they die. They die too. And they just take Malawi? However you say this country's name, I don't know. It's definitely not malaria. I am very sorry. But they sink these islands to the ocean. But this distraction, boom, it led to, they use their Irish tanks armed with potato cannons, and they take it. They capture the surrounding lands and encircle. A crushing blow, which the Indian armies quickly dealt with. In India, without their biggest pocket, they die. It's over for them. They're dead. Look at this green. Look at this lovely green. Right, boom. China, scared. China's scared. They're scared of Ireland. They take over the Koreas. And Japan gets jealous, but they can't do anything about it. Then they take over Mongolia. They snake and take the capital. Pretty sure that Mongolia has the lowest density. Right? They're setting a war for the two giants. Boom. China forces East Asia, Southeast Asia to join, or they're dead. They join. So does Singapore. China's economy grows. Then Ireland says, no bueno. I don't know why I'm using Spanish, but it's okay. They take Taiwan. USA gets pissed. So, they blame the Mexicans and they die. And they become the 51st state. But anyway, that's not important. Anyway, to continue to grow their potatoes, They take Ethiopia. They declare war. But the mountains, they prove tough. The mountains are tough. They take Djibouti. They take Eritrea because there's not mountains in Eritrea, I don't think. And they encircle the mountains. They continue to slow them down. Ethiopia's just refusing to be colonized by the Italians and now by the Irish. So that's a standstill. But take Yemen. Years of civil war cause them to be weak, and they die. They're dead. But then their infrastructure gets boosted by potato farms. They're very thankful for that, right? To a big F you to Iran, they close the seas, right? They use their navy. There's a bigger navy of Ireland. They close the oceans, right? They use their navy to blockade, and they get mad. They're like, reopen it, or I'll get China to declare war on you. And Ireland is not scared. They detect the bluff. So they sink Iran into the ocean. And nothing happens because of it. Iran's bluff they got their bluff, right? They were playing poker, and Iran's hand was a 2 and a 7. They die. They're dead. They're not coming back from this one, folks. Bosnia also sinks in the ocean just because of weird circumstances. That was definitely not caused by the Irish, but nobody suspects a thing. They take over Pakistan. They take over Pakistan seas, right? The Navy, obviously superior. They launch their land forces. But this twist, China's like, I'm not gonna allow that Buster Brown. So, what do? They declare war. The war finally begins, and this time Ireland struggles, right? China takes the seas, and they take whatever those islands are called. Ireland starts to lose, right? They're losing the mountains because China has better mountain people trained to fight in the mountains, right? Boom. And with the force of Pakistan and China, they meet forces in Kashmir, which is given to Pakistan, right? Boom. Ireland struggles. China invades Nepal and Bhutan just for easier access. And that does not help at all. And they die faster. They don't die, but they struggle. Boom. It's very looking grim. China goes to the seas, right? And there's ships. They take part of it. They take back, right? It's not looking grim. It's looking grim. And Pakistan, with the help of Chinese, they like that. I'm stupid. They take back the oceans, right? They're like, oh no, we're losing. And they take this time to research more potato cannons, but it takes some more losses and stuff. Pakistan has the ocean for trading. Russia gives them stuff, right? But Poland, they say no. They send their winged hussars, and they take back New Delhi. A victory for the Irish. Very needed, very crucial too. This is a war for the decades. This is interesting. Ethiopia lives, I guess. They're like, no, we can't focus on a blood-draining war. So they take Botswana because the name is weird, and they take it because they don't like it. The Irish Navy does get some wins, though. Due to strategic ship, they take Oman pretty quickly, too. It's just sand, I think. Right now. And then they also take the UAE very quickly because they're also just sand. But a very strategic move. They sail up, right? And they take Turkmenistan, I believe. And they take it, right? They fall. And China can do nothing about it because they don't share a border. And would you look at this? Ooh, Pakistan is encircled navally. And they start to die. Very slowly. They die. Right? Without fresh shipments, they die. And the Irish Navy once again secures the seas because they're just better. Ireland takes the southern coast of Pakistan, this green bubble. But Pakistan and China, they don't care. They push. They go below New Delhi and they encircle the city, squeezing out Irish forces. But Ireland doesn't care because they're nonchalant like that for real. They keep going. They hold out the Christmas alliance. They hold out. Japan gets jealous. They invade Korea. They just can't help themselves. They invade Korea. They just can't help themselves. China's like, bro, what the freak? But China keeps going. Japan keeps going. They invade Manchuria once again, and they take over a good amount, right? They take over, not Beijing. They take over a good amount, but China's like, no, you suck. Uno reverse card, and they die. Japan dies. They got Uno reversed. Deadly. You don't want to be caught in a war with the Uno reverse. China's like, enough of this dilly dally, and they take over more Eastern, Central Asia, right? Russia's like, okay, bro. They take Kazakhstan before they do, and China's like, okay, bro. I didn't want it anyway. And they take over Uzbekistan, right? To kick out. They take. This is weird borders. What am I doing? But they kick out. Ooh, they kick out. They kick out Ireland and Turkmenistan, right? And the Navy struggles to get kicked back, but the Navy still stays. They just don't have it. I mean, they're still in sort of navally. I mean, Ireland seizes this island for a strategic partnership, so they can like close that off. They also take that island, and so they like do that, and then Ireland gives nope wrong one. Ireland gives these islands to Australia for an alliance, right? Australia and New Zealand they unite. When they take over Papua New Guinea, they die. They take over these islands, these islands that are by now like above the ocean. And now, Indonesia and Australia they come to agreement. They unite into Oceania, which they get a new color, unbelievable. And the Philippines join because China just declared war on them. Trust, but Australia with the kangaroos and kiwis, unstoppable force. They take Malaysia. They land in southern Singapore. By now, 10 years has passed, and this war is looking grim. But Ireland makes a breakthrough. They take back their pocket, and they drive their potato tanks. They make a pocket, and they die. The pocket just dies. They just combust unexpectedly. While Oceania, marches upwards, Ireland reclaims these islands and links up with Australia. Trying like, oh no, their navy dies. Their navy just falls apart. They're running out of oil. Very crucial. But no need for Ireland because they don't need oil. All they need is the potato fiber. And they have a lot of it because they have potatoes. But oh no. They have a potato famine. Bad. Right, bad. People are having too many potatoes. So, what do? You might think they open farms or they tell people to stop eating potatoes. No. That's too smart. That's too reasonable. So, what do? You're right. If you said they sink Latvia into the ocean, you'd be correct. And it fixes the problem. They keep going. They launch their invasion. They stop at the Alps, not Alps, what am I talking about? The Himalayas. Those are big mountains. The biggest mountains they've seen, they can't come across it yet. But they continue in Burma. So does Australia. And Oceania takes Indochina, and this part of China. And China, you might think China like realizes that it's over because Pakistan dies. They march over here and they take over here. Ireland reclaims Turkmenistan very quickly, and that area. They've got to hit the Alps, right? The Alps are like pretty big actually. This is like the Himalayas, right? But China, war in China comes to a standstill because I say it does, and so it does. Ireland expanded its navy down there. This great Irish navy. Ooh. To link their forces, Ireland does a big campaign push. They launch invasion into Tanzania, Uganda, I mean. Or this one and this one. They launch invasion, go past the river. Uganda dies. And the trees are hard. But my favorite thing they do, war crimes. They burn the trees down like it's Vietnam. They die. And they get caught because they don't get caught because no one suspects the Irish. China tries to tell them, or the people, that Ireland is being a very bad country. They're like, huh, Ireland? Nah, bro, what do they do? What do they do? They didn't do anything. And China's like, bro, what the freak? Now, but Ireland does the potato divisions, which pretty much launches paratroopers into China, which allows them to go up, march, and reunite, forming a Y shape. And this allows Australia to use their kangaroos as cavalry, and it connects, and they crush many pockets of Chinese troops. And this allows them to keep going. They reach this lake, and then the next one. Told you that, another pocket. They die. The pocket just dies. And then Ireland reaches this lake, and China starts to see, we might be cooked. And Ireland pushes over here, but they reach the big mountains, and they crumble. And they freeze, really. They take Malaysia just because. What a funky world. They take Micronesia, and they take Taiwan, these islands, and Okinawa from China. They continue along the coast, and Ireland continues with them, taking big cities like, I don't know Chinese cities that much. But I take Shandong. I know that. I'm a Hoi 4 player. Australia snakes and takes Beijing. And China dies. In the peace deal, it's been a while since we had a good peace deal. Everything, it splits. It goes like that. Up here, it goes like that, and perfect. It's like Oceania, I mean, gets the Shang Dynasty borders, and Ireland gets the rest. Wow, this is an empire, if I have ever seen one. Okay, we're not at war anymore. This video's ending, so. Let me just, 1 second. Well, nope. Well, thank you guys for watching. This video is random. I know it sucks. This is so low quality. Uh, but anyway, I had fun making it. I mean, all I did was speak, but it was kind of funny for me. Um, End quote.